your leader keeps telling us he wants a general election, but now for the third time it seems he's going to not agree to one.
That's right. I'm not knocking people up at 8 o'clock at night, dark night, like Craig Hans says he is. No, he doesn't. I mean, the situation is that Boris Johnson's trying to thrust through a massively reckless deal that will make certainly people in my constituency on, say, £15,000 a year, £1,000 a year worse off, will undermine their workers' rights, their environment, and they won't have any trade deals. And really, people should have the final say on whether that's what they expected from Brexit, so we can get Brexit over with and then get on with an election to talk about all the things we want to talk about and stop talking about Brexit.
What is it that you love so much about the Tories that you want to keep them in power for another 9 months or a year?
No, I don't like the Tories at all, and this deal will be ruinous for Britain. And in terms of the no deal, we've only got 1 year to get a trade deal. These trade deals often take 5 years. So after a year, we're going to sort of fall out of bed with medicine and food shortages, etc. We need to decide. We need to look at this deal, and the Tories have said we've got, a couple of weeks to look at this deal, and then that deal needs to be put to the people. I think people in Parliament
win an election, and then you can do that.
Support the deal so long as it went to the people for the final say. So the biggest issue that's faced us for decades, we can get that out of the way, get Brexit done, as it were, and then have a general election immediately after.
So you're willing to keep the Tories in power. Your constituents, you as a party constantly say that you can't trust Boris Johnson. You think the Tories are evil, universal credit is evil and all the rest of it, and yet you're willing to keep them in power for another year. Most people won't, most Labour voters won't understand that.
Well, the last thing, it would be, frankly, it would be worse having a Brexit through, because the level of austerity and deprivation was escalating massively.
Win an election and stop it.
The companies in my area, like Ford and Bridgen, are leaving because we won't be a single market. Tata Steel's running, Airbus are going. And so the idea that we can just nod through Boris's Brexit and have a general election is ridiculous.
Well, have a general election, win the election, and then you can implement your policies. That's what democracy is all about.
This is naive. And the situation, as you know, is that Boris now hopes that he can combine the Brexit and Tory vote by having a sort of vague, let's get Brexit done that people on their armchairs want, understandably, so do I. And he thinks the Remain vote will split between the Liberals and the Labour. So on a very small minority of the votes, he can get more MPs, then ram through this Brexit. Well, it'd be completely irresponsible to just let him on some sort of, your chicken, have a go.
Well, you've let the cat out of the bag there, haven't you? Because the reason that you don't want a general election because you know you can't win it.
No, the reason we don't want a general election is we want to get Brexit done and for people to have that say before we have an election which isn't completely contaminated.
Your position is
Brexit.
ludicrous. It's ludicrous, and the electorate can see that it's ludicrous.
If it's contaminated by Brexit, as I've just said, then clearly he's gambling on the idea that people say, get Brexit done. That vote will be a bigger vote. That's true.
I doubt there's a single person listening to us talking who thinks that you've given the real reason. The real reason is that you're tanking in the polls, you will lose seats and you'll lose the election, and that's why you don't want one.
Well, no, it is the case that Boris has got a good chance of winning an election. It's true, because the Remain vote will split and the Brexit vote will hold together. So even if there's more Remain voters in Britain, we could end up with a hard Brexit government. And that isn't democracy. What we want is a one person, one vote on a Brexit deal. The deal he said he's negotiated is so good, put it to the people. If they want that and they voted for it, let's have that.
It's funny,
but if they
though,
don't want it,
because
and they won't run it because it's not very appetizing.
That isn't actually Labour policy, is it?
Then have a general election immediately after.
No.
People say, well, we can't have all these changes in all this time. We've had 3 prime ministers in 4 years over this Brexit. Let's get it sorted by giving the people the final vote on the deal that he says is so good.
That's not Labour Party policy, is it?
I think you'll find that will be what emerges.
Well, it isn't at the moment, is it?
No, it isn't. No. I mean, at the moment, what we're saying is get no deal off the table, and then
that will happen on the 1st of November.
Well, not really, because, of course, if we were to go ahead with Boris's deal in a year's time...
so you want to extend it for a year again?
No deal again.
That's two cats you've let out of the bag. So you actually want to not have any election until after December 2020. Well, I'm sure Labour voters will think that's a marvellous idea, keeping the Conservatives in power.